everyone, and welcome to another Let's Create with Taylor Art Studio. Today we're going to make a fairy chair. The supplies you're going to need are popsicle sticks, garden shears preferably, or really strong scissors, hot glue, a ruler, a pencil, acrylic paint, and paint brushes. This is the plan that I found online for these little Adirondack chairs. These are all the pieces that you're going to need to cut. So I already measured and cut all of my pieces. I used a ruler because it's very specific. If you wanted to make a bigger chair, you'd have to kind of figure out your own measurements. But I already measured all these little pieces and cut them out. I used garden shears because it was a lot easier to cut with that than scissors. But if you've got some really strong scissors, those should work too. Alright, so I'm going to start with the back of the chair and just line those pieces up and make sure I've got everything I need. So for the back of the chair, you're going to use 2 of the 2.5-inch pieces and the 2 2 3/4 pieces, and then you're going to use the 2 1/4 piece and the 1 5/8 piece. Those are going to go on the back of the chair. So the first thing I'm going to build actually is going to be the seat. So for that one, you'll need the other 2 2.5-inch pieces and all of the 1 3/4 pieces. So I'm going to put some hot glue on the edges, and you're going to kind of start with the frame part of it and glue the 2 1/2 pieces to the edges of the 1 3/4. And then you're going to take the other 3 that are left and you're going to glue them on top of the little frame that you just used. Now be careful you're using hot glue. Be careful that you're not touching the glue when you put these pieces on. I have really tough skin on my fingers, so I'm even wiping it off a little bit so I don't have big chunks of glue, but just be careful. Hot glue can really hurt. You can use Elmer's or wood glue. Wood glue would work really well. The problem with that is that when you're building things like this, it doesn't stick right away. So you'd have to figure out some way to kind of hold the pieces together, maybe with masking tape while the glue dries. So there's the seat part. Now I'm going to glue the back of the chair together. So I'm going to put hot glue on the edges, on the sides of my popsicle stick pieces. And then when I press them together, I'm using my finger and kind of rubbing off that excess hot glue that got smushed out. So I'm going to glue all those pieces together in one flat to create one flat piece. There we go. There's the back part. The next thing we're going to add are the 2 pieces that go across the back to kind of brace it. So that top piece is the 1 5/8 piece. I've noticed that 1 5/8 isn't exactly the size that you need, so you can just line some popsicle sticks up. It's basically the length of 4 popsicle sticks laid next to each other. Now that other piece that goes across, it should hang over the edge there. That's going to be the back, where the back of the armrests sit. Alright, so now I'm going to glue the seat and the back of the chair together. And I want a little bit of an angle there. You know how Adirondack chairs, you really, when you sit in them, you kind of sink because they're so reclined. So you do want to have a little bit of a recline to it. And you'll just press it down, you know, onto the seat part until that popsicle stick that's sticking out of the edges is touching the seat. And now I'm just adding a little bit of extra hot glue on the bottom to help brace it. You don't have to. That might actually be a good place to put some Elmer's or wood glue, just to give it a little extra stability. So now what's left are all these little 1.5 pieces. So you're going to, I would kind of work, I keep trying to set it on there and it keeps falling off. But I would try to work it out and make sure you know where it's going to go before you just glue. And make sure the chair is going to sit evenly. So for the legs, for those short legs, the rounded part should be pointed down and the flat part should be pointed up, so that when you put the armrests on, they'll have somewhere to sit. So for the armrest, you're going to put the rounded part pointing forward and the flat part at the back. Now I would say I used a marker to write on all of my pieces for this video, so that it would be easier to see the measurements for each piece. But if you do it with a pencil, you can erase those off, or they'll be a lot easier to cover with your acrylic paint later. The marker was really hard to cover. I had to put like 3 coats to cover the Sharpie marker. And then if you want, you can take an X-Acto knife or something later and kind of cut off some of those excess blobs of hot glue. So there's our little tiny fairy cherries. And thanks everybody for watching. I hope you're all staying safe and staying inspired.